We respectfully request the Sangha of great virtues, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh, thịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo hạ mùng, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Thượng Sư Chế Đô Ye Ở La Hờ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Tạc Đắc Tha Tô Già Đà Già A La Hà Đế Tam Miệu Tham Mô Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou qi Yen Jie Ru Lai Zhe Shui. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Qingliang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good new advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大师、师父、上人、各位出家人、各位善知识、弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư, Thượng Tiên Hoa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 6th of December 2024. We're here at Way Mountain Temple to continue discussing the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra. Thank you for joining us. We're right now on slide 1183. The context is door number 2, the store and the teachings containing in it. This particular, it goes on, but this particular section talks about the Buddha nature that all of us have. Okay? And again, this is an exercise of, if you will, futility. Is useless practically for you, except that it plants the seeds of great wisdom in you, and which will sprout in the future, which will help you attain big levels of enlightenment. Okay, and this particular prologue here is prepared by Great Master Qingliang, who is a really erudite. So my personal interest is to go through the text because I did it once already. I read it through very quickly. I got about 2%. I'm very proud. I said, I read the prologue, but didn't get anything. So this time, maybe we get 5%. I'd be so happy, just double the production rate. And no, seriously, it's about taking advantage of his erudition so that we can be exposed to the various jargons and concepts people talk about is of interest to you in particular, because in the future, when you hear people talk about these concepts, you won't be as surprised, you won't be as impressed. This is what a lot of Buddhist disciples nowadays tend to do. They throw words at you, jargon that you're trying to confuse. In particular, I disapprove of the monks and nuns using big words, too many words, because they don't understand even what those words mean. That's terrible. Okay? Buddhism, when we teach you, is about sharing with you what we feel is useful for you. It's not about us trying to impress you with our knowledge and our wisdom. It's about trying to make your time worthwhile and very, very useful for you. Okay, this is really great wisdom, folks. It's very rare for you to be able to plant these seeds of great wisdom. They call it Vajra seeds, Vajra Prajna seeds, meaning the seeds of great wisdom, which they are indestructible. No one can destroy it. Okay? Maybe except me. Because I gave it to you, so I can destroy it. Okay? Anyway, seriously. And this is your treasure. Trust me, folks. Just the mere fact we listen to it, doesn't matter who you are, men, women, boy, girls, young, old, Catholic, Buddhist, atheist, doesn't matter. You hear it. These seeds are created inside of you. And you carry it with you forever until they sprout and help you open great wisdom and help you get what you want. Okay? So it's a lot more wonderful than you realize. All right. 1183. Inasmuch as the nirvana bases itself on the nature in principle, in making clear that all equally possess it, it therefore says that all who have the mind are certain to be Buddhas.
然涅槃依于理性，名其等有，故云：凡是有心，定当作佛。
1184, I realize that quite a few of you are tuning in and you don't know what we're talking about, so we try to give you kind of background information, reference points. Nirvana Sutra is one of the bigger sutras, important sutras in Buddhism, where it was spoken just before the Buddha died. And so it can kind of tells you that before the Buddha said goodbye, he wanted to tell us the most important thing, basically why he came to our world and what he wanted us to remember, to understand. So the Nirvana Sutra is very, very important. You should know that. You should know this name, Nirvana. Nirvana is the name of the good place where you can go when you become enlightened. Okay, only enlightened people can go. Okay, and there are different kinds of nirvanas. This is Buddha's nirvana, where he says, you are able to get there. It's a matter of time. When you hear of this nirvana thing, you definitely will get there. Okay? So that's the good news, that's the great news. So on 1184, inasmuch as Nirvana Sutra, okay, based on the Buddha's nature and principle, he's talking, in the midst of talking, the Buddha nature has two things. Buddha nature in practice, one. Buddha nature in principle, two. What are they talking about? Buddha in principle refers to the fact that we all have the Buddha nature, all of us. We equally possess it. It's not more in me than in you, or more in you than me. Okay? We all have the same Buddha nature, believe it or not. That's a Buddhist teaching. That's meaning the Buddha nature in principle. In principle, we all have the same Buddha nature. Exact same thing. Absolutely no difference. Whether you are, doesn't matter which ethnicity you belong to, we all share the same Buddha nature. So there's no point in worrying about discrimination and racism and so forth. It's irrelevant in Buddhism. Okay? And even Rohingyas in, what's that country again, where they're killing Rohingyas? Okay, the Buddhist monks are saying that these are infidels, it's okay to kill them. There's no such a thing in Buddhism, especially when it comes from the mouth of the monk. That's terrible. This Hinayana monk does not understand about the Buddha nature. If you really understand, you really believe, you see that each one of us is very special. We all have the Buddha nature. We all are equally important. We all are. Okay, that's what is meant by the Buddha nature and principle. And then, let me finish the slide here and continue the Buddha in practice. Is that okay? Okay, so he says, in principle, we all have the Buddha nature. We equally possess it, meaning we all possess the same exact thing. Okay? All right? And therefore, it says, all who have the mind are certain to become Buddhas. Because in principle, you have the Buddha nature. The great news is that you will become Buddhas, for sure. Whether you believe it or not today, it doesn't matter at all. Okay? Some of you will say, I have to be here because otherwise Master would notice I don't attend his lectures. Don't worry about it. You're done. You can stand up and leave right now because you will become a Buddha. I've done my job. Go have fun. Okay, nothing wrong with that. I'm perfectly happy. Look at that. Daniel, don't look so happy. I know your girlfriend told you to be here. Make an effort, you non-Buddhist person. Okay, for non-Buddhists, they will have to work a little bit harder. That's all. Okay, it's fair to us. Okay. And so, it says here, according to this Nirvana Sutra, it says that all who have the mind are certain to be Buddhas. That's what the Buddha taught. Okay? And it's interpreted here, Master Sha explained, mind here means Buddha nature and principle. They have to have accomplished Buddhahood. No, I disagree with him. Mind here refers to something that you all have, this thinking mind of yours. The mind, remember, the mind that calculates plus, minuses, advantages and disadvantages, okay? That mind of yours that's always calculating, it's always scheming. Because you have that, the great news that you will become Buddha. That's a proof. Isn't that cool? We all have this calculating mind. Okay? And therefore, Nirvana Sutra says, you will all become Buddhas. Okay? That's the principle, Buddhist principle. All right? 1185. It does not say that all who have practice are certain to be Buddhas.
不言凡事有行，定当作佛。
Now, we go into the section where we talk about second nature, Buddha nature in practice. Okay, remember, in principle, in theory, we all have the Buddha nature, and for sure, the Buddha says, if you have this mind here, the thinking mind, your mind you have right now, that you use right now every day, at work, at home, okay, when dealing with your children, okay, and your spouses, that mind there is a proof that it will transform itself eventually and become the true mind. And that's the proof that you have the Buddha nature. The Buddha nature manifests itself in the form of the mind you have right now. Is that clear? That's the principle, that's the principle behind it. But in practice, you are not Buddhas yet. So the Buddha nature in practice basically says, even though you have the Buddha nature, but in practice, you're not a Buddha yet. Is that clear? It's like a man pursuing a girl. He says, I'm pursuing you. So in principle, you're going to be my girlfriend. So I'll pursue you to the temples and listen to your master's junk. And I will put up with it for months, maybe years, and eventually you'll be my girlfriend. So in principle, you will be my girlfriend, but in practice, you're not yet. But after a while, I will sway you with my assiduity, with my insistence, and you will fall for it. So eventually, you will be my girl. Men, is what we do? Yeah. Speak the same language. Okay, same thing with Buddhas. In principle, you're Buddhas. You will become Buddhas, but you're not Buddhas yet. So therefore, your Buddha nature in practice is the one that's evolving. It gets closer and closer to the real Buddha nature, the real goal, the ultimate prize of existence. It's nothing more rewarding, nothing bigger. Okay? Girlfriends, you will change them. Buddha nature, you only have one. Isn't that cool? All right. And so, 1186. It says, but in principle, in practice, the Buddha nature in practice, even though you practice, doesn't mean that you can be guaranteed to become Buddhas. It sounds bad, right? I mean, this is so Chinese. They speak a lot, and it's like this is what intellectuals do. Okay, let me see if I can explain it later. Okay, okay. So I don't know what they're going to say here, but what it's saying is that it's kind of weird. Maybe the translation to English is kind of weird. It does not say that all who have practiced are certainly Buddhas, meaning that this lifetime, when you practice, you meditate, you recite mantras, you bow, you do your things. It doesn't mean that you become a Buddha yet. It takes a while. That's all it means. So in practice, you're on the way, but you're not there yet. So don't claim you're a Buddha. It's still a lot of work to do. That's all it means. Okay? And they use big words to say it. And this is where I find it funny how scholars, they talk so much and to say so little. 1187, if one maintains that the nature and principle being certainly possessed allows those tending towards stillness not to have accomplishment, then that contradicts the principle of the teaching.
若为理性定有，容去即不成，则为教理。
Okay, bear with me. It's okay. Okay, what he's saying is that on slide 1188, he says that the nature, certainly you have the Buddha nature in principle. We all have it, and you definitely will become Buddhas. Okay, and that's why in Buddhism, especially you've seen those monks who wear very colorful clothes. I'm not referring to Tibetans. I'm talking about Hinayana people. Okay, the people who wear very colorful, like dark red, bright orange, that kind of thing. Okay, they are called Hinayana because they are we call sound hearers, meaning that their practices eventually will bring them to a certain level of accomplishment that's called sound hearer. They become enlightened, very small enlightenment, and even though it's a pretty nice accomplishment, okay, but they're still very far from the Buddha nature. Okay, and unfortunately for them, they don't know that. That's the difference. It would take them a lot longer than any of you. because you have these Vajra seeds, the prajna seeds that will sprout one day. They don't have such seeds. Okay, so that's a difference. And then another word, key word here, stillness, is also a penchant for the Buddhists to vie for. Stillness. Stillness is a superior state of being. Stillness, meaning no movement at all. You are at rest. When the world is turning crazily and so much destruction, so much unhappiness, so much confusion, you're still because you're not affected by the externals. People are depressed, they cannot affect you. People are unhappy, they cannot affect you. Why is it useful? It's useful because then you can be a pillar. See, no matter what happens, did the pillar move? No, it doesn't move, and yet it supports the weight of the temple. See this? So each one of the pillar here is unmoving. Okay, and that's critical. It's a lot more important than people realize. It's so Buddhist because the Buddhists are like pillars. They're pillars of society, and no one pays attention. No one notices. That's what pillars are supposed to do. Pillars are not supposed to be famous. Pillars are not supposed to be comfortable and flashy. It's invisible. It's there, but no one pays attention. Excuse me, South Carolina, do you want to say something nasty? 7.
They zoomed in on the pillar and it's not supposed to be famous.
Yeah, pillars are really cool in Buddhism. You've seen those big Asian temples with the big red pillars? It's so typical Buddhism, okay? The Asians, they like to make these pillars red to remind all of you, we are pillars for the world. But it's wrong. For America, we like our pillars to be the same color so it disappears. No one pays attention. That's why we call it American Buddhism versus Asian Buddhism. Okay? And so stillness is strength. Is it clear? You still because they cannot move you, no matter how strong the earth quakes. It cannot move you. No matter how confusing it is around you, you still are a pillar to provide safety to the people who need it. Okay? And so that's why these people, they tend to a stillness, okay? That's a stillness there is one type of pillar in society. So therefore, please don't take me wrong. I really have a lot high regards for these sound hearers because what they're doing is very, very good for society. You go to Tibet, you go to Thailand, you go to those Southeast Asian countries, there's lots of them, and they're doing a ton of good. Okay? It's just that the pillar are a little bit small. We want something much bigger to support not just one building, but support the whole world. How's that? That's the Mahayana ambition. Okay? What happens to Buddhism, unfortunately for us in Buddhists, is that when the Buddha came to our world and saw so much suffering, so much confusion, he taught the Hinayana teachings, and people were so excited, and his disciples certified to stillness like that, pillars like that, and they say, wow, this is so cool. And they loved it. Okay? But they got attached to that. They say, oh, what I'm doing is so important, okay? And they don't realize that there's a lot more to go, okay? A lot bigger. You can become such a bigger pillar for the world, okay? And so what he's saying here, that these fixed nature sound hearers, they have some accomplishments, but they cannot really, the accomplishment pretty small, okay? And therefore it is, and that's all I want you to remember. What they talk about here is it's Chinese reasoning. It's not that important, okay? You want, you can read it. To me, it's not necessary, okay? It will not help you become a Buddha, make you any happier, or only make you more arrogant, thinking you can talk nonsense. That's of no value to anyone. 1189, from this one knows the statement that Echantikas do not become Buddhas is because upon becoming Buddhas, they are not Echantikas and will simply approach and acclaim for the current time.
是知阐提不作佛者，以作佛非阐提故，乃抑扬当时耳。
See, I admit to you, it's so much more in this text than that I can understand or am interested in sharing with you. Okay, I want to share with you the things that are interesting to me. I find it so important for everyone. Doesn't matter which level you are, beginners to very advanced, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about. In this commentary slide, it says that in this Nirvana Sutra, as a reminder, first section it was transmitted from India to China. First section says, Echantikas, meaning those who have no faith, they don't believe in Buddhas. You want to look at one? Right there. Look. Turn around. You're lucky today. We're here at Wei Mountain Temple. And I want you to zoom in over there. You have an Echantika. Isn't it wonderful? We are very open-minded, okay? We embrace them all. Okay? Echantika is someone who absolutely refuses to believe. And I cannot find a more apt example of Echantika than right here at Wei Mountain Temple tonight. Okay. It says that the first half says these Echantikas cannot become Buddhas. Okay? And don't worry about this logic here. This is again Chinese logic. To me, it's too much talk for nothing important. Okay? But I want you to understand that there are such people where they don't believe at all. We all know that, right? And we know because of that, they cannot become Buddhas this lifetime, whereas we can. So the girlfriend will become a Buddha and the boyfriend will fall to the hells. Okay? That's life. That serves you right for not believing in Buddha. But anyway, this is not a condemnation. It's just when you go there, you say, you remember my words. I told you so. Okay? And so 1191. This is kind of interesting because it says that these sound hearers, even though they are saying, I'm important, okay? But the Buddha has ways to make them change their mind and broaden their mind. Okay? So that's what is in Buddhism. The term is to turn the small from the small towards the great. Small mind, meaning that I'm only this, I'm happy with this. And the Buddha says you can be so much happier by going bigger, being more ambitious. Okay? That's big. So this is small. Big is like the pillars in Tower 101 in Taipei. Have you been there, anyone? Yeah. Go there and take a look. It's cool, okay? It's big, okay? Big tower, big building, okay? Anyway, and so that's the concept. Turning from the small towards the great. So that's what Buddha and Bodhisattvas do. They get these guys, they don't move. It's very difficult to move, by the way. They're moving, they're unmoving. Okay, they like to be still. No one can move them except for Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. You guys can't move them, but Buddhas and Bodhisattvas figure out a way to move them, turn them from too small into great. Okay? What is small? What is great? Small is that me. I'm not looking at anyone in particular. Me. I'm happy. I'm sad. That's me. Okay? And then what is the great is you. If you keep on worrying about yourself, plotting for yourself, it's a small. Everything you get will be very, very small. Yes, they're fun, they're nice, and they're comfortable, and they're enjoyable. But that's small joy, small comfort. The great is that when you... This is very important, folks. And someday you understand what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter how old you are. If I know many of you struggle your entire life, you reach to be my age, and you realize that, my God, life is so hard. I just want to be comfortable and die peacefully. It ain't gonna happen. I know that because all my disciples were fighting for Wei Mountain Temple. They say, Master left it for me, not you. Okay. So I know I will not be able to die in peace. I'll be turning in my grave. All my disciples are fighting each other and tearing each other apart. Okay. That's what happened to my master over there. Okay. So the point being that if you simply broaden your mind and not be so preoccupied with yourself and put yourself number one. Okay? If you just stop doing that and prioritize helping others, then what are you? You have a bodhisattva heart. That's the point here. That's important. That's small. That's you. Small heart. We're talking about hearts here, folks. Your heart is small. All you can think of is yourself. That's you. That's me. And you is that all your hearts. And that's the great. And the requirement, folks, is very simple. Please stop being so preoccupied with yourself. We're not saying you should not go and have some fried chicken sandwich. We're not saying you should forsake your diamond rings. I don't see any. You're so poor. I'm so disappointed. I glance at you and people's hands, where I came from. The dames usually wear a big ring. I remember that's one where Lu Mountain Temple. An old lady who used to be big shot in Vietnam. She would come to the temple and wear this rock, this big, let me tell you, bigger than my thumb. And she walks in, she waves her hands, you can follow the rock. I call her the rock. If you can simply stop being so full of yourself and just enjoy life as it comes to you, instead of forcing yourself on everything. I'm important. I'm more important than you. I'm the most important person. No, just enjoy life. People, things happen to us naturally. Okay? Enjoy it. Enjoy the good food. Enjoy the vacation. Enjoy your money. Enjoy your fame, your notoriety. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's still very small. But you should not only confine yourself to your small own advantages. If you can simply stop doing that, your mind, because your mind is wonderful, it wants to keep busy. You cannot stop it. It keeps on plotting. And it's what you folks are doing right now is plotting for yourself. If you say, I will save some of my time to plot for others, help others, go do some charity, go, I don't know what else. How do you plot for others? Daniel, we almost sent a crazy person to you today, you know that? This person really crazy, and we talked about it. We don't know how to handle her. So I said, how about Daniel? Daniel can handle her. But lucky for you, your girlfriend was not here. Then so we said, let's give it to his girlfriend. And then the girlfriend would naturally call him and say, yeah, fantastic idea. That's the beginning of thinking for others. I'm so proud. Oh, I'm so proud, meaning me again. Oh my God. Okay. So the point being that if you can simply say, I spend 25% of my time, 30% of my time, 50% of the time thinking of others instead of thinking of myself, you know what? You'll be happier. 25% happier, 50% happier. How is that? For the worst known secret of the world, and yet no one wants to do it. And that's what he's talking about. Small, turning from small to big. Small heart to big heart. No? Okay. And in Buddhism, it's not just helping. In Buddhism, we help you to be your best eventually, and eventually become a Buddha where you're the happiest. Buddhas, by nature, are the happiest creature in the universe. And you can be that too. So that's what they call Buddha in practice. As we do these silly things, listening to sutras, crossing our legs, meditation, reciting Buddha's name, so forth, those are the practices that will help you become a Buddha faster and be happier more quickly. And it's not at the exclusion. It's not meant to be at the exclusion of everything else. You should go and do your vacation, play basketball, your son. It's important too. We recognize that's very important. But for God's sake, for Buddha's sake, please allocate some time to help others. You'll be surprised on how much happier you'll be. First, you'll be very annoyed because you run into crazy people like you ran into this woman this morning. But there are also plenty of good things, really nice people. All right? And so, the Buddha knows that. The Buddha knows that you are capable of having a great heart. And so he says, that's why in the in the Buddhist teaching, I use the Chantika concept here to explain to you, to give you the bigger picture of Buddhist teachings. Buddhists know that you are preoccupied with yourself. And he says, if you can simply give yourself a chance to experience how nice it could feel occasionally when you sometimes help others, okay, and forget about yourself, make sacrifices, personal sacrifices to help others, you like yourself more. Okay? And so the example of Chantakas here is that he uses the concept of Chantakas to criticize and chide the sound hearers. Do you remember those small pillars that you think you're cool? Okay? Actually, he says, it's because you fail to heed my advice. That's why you're missing out on the great fun, the great happiness. And that is called reproach and acclaim. Okay, meaning that these sound hearers here, remember they're unmoving, so this is what Bodhisattvas and Buddhas do to them. They said, they say, you are worthless. You are stuck in no man's land. And yet you could be so much better off. And that is what is meant by reproach and acclaim. Okay? Reproach is that you are so small. Acclaim is that you can be so big. You are so missing out on so much fun. And this is, you deserve it. You deserve to have more fun, more happiness than now. And it's so important, folks. Sometimes important to put a certain percentage of our life, our time in investing for the future instead of just consumption alone. Doesn't matter you're young or you need your education. Adults too need to invest, continue to invest in our future and our happiness. Okay? And in order for that to happen, we need you to open your heart and become, yes, you're preoccupied with yourself, but you realize that, you say, okay, I see it now, let me slice a little bit section and stop it. And let me worry during that small section of time to help others. And you see the huge difference in your life. Okay? That's why I use this to explain to you the concept of the Buddha. When Buddhas and people in Buddhism, especially teachers in Buddhism, sometimes we need to chide people, to insult people, to make them feel bad. This is reproach, okay? So that they wake up when they said, wow, no one ever dare talk to me like that before. Everywhere else I go, they worship me, say, oh, we love your money, we love you. You would not believe it. The first time I followed my late mother, to a Vietnam temple, I was this Western educated person, who lost her Vietnam roots already. The Vietnam would call me, you rootless Vietnam person. I went to this Vietnam temple. And you know how we Western people prize our private space? Okay? So that when people encroach our private space, we don't feel comfortable. You know what I'm talking about? You Western educated people, huh? Yeah? Especially the Westerners, you encroach on their space, they get very offended. They're very uncomfortable. Okay? That's why when you notice when people go board a bus, you don't do that, do you? None of you ride buses. I ride buses. I rode buses. Not anymore. People just being old. Now people drive me around. I hope. If I'm nice to them, they drive me around. If I'm not nice to them, they lock me up until I sign over the temple. This is what happened to old monks, you know. I know that it's coming. Okay. So anyway, how did I get there? Don't laugh like that. I'm losing my memory, but it's Alzheimer's. It's not my fault. So, thank you very much. I'm so touched that you pay attention. Somebody cares. The rest of you look at me as an old fool. Okay. Anyway, when you ride the bus or the metro, anyone rides a metro? Yeah. Okay. Or train? Okay. Especially during rush hour, you get up there and you push against you. Everyone goes crazy because they lose their private space. It's too close. You can smell that your neighbor has not taken a bath. It's not that funny, Daniel. Okay? I used to ride a bus on a Greyhound bus from Calgary, Canada, down to city of 10,000 Buddhas, Ukiah. So that's about a few days, okay, on the bus. And every single stop, usually new people would sit next to me and trust me, you don't want to ride buses. Okay? Anyway, so the private space is very important for us in the West. Okay, so when people get too close, we feel uncomfortable. Okay, and I don't know why we get to private space. My logic is too convoluted, and I blame my disciple and go forth to be really convoluted. Actually, I'm even more convoluted than she is. Okay. What? So my point being that when you feel uncomfortable because your private space is being encroached, okay, that's because you still have a self. Okay? And if you let go of the self, you're no longer uncomfortable. You're no longer afflicted. It's that simple. The discomfort is not because of others, it's because of you who chose to be uncomfortable. You're too close to me. Why didn't you take a shower? You know, what about deodorant? That kind of thing. People are just who they are, okay? Embrace them, accept them. Okay? All right? So that's why the reproach is that, why are you so self-centered? Why are you so small-minded? Okay? If you simply go bigger and let go of your pettiness, okay? Just worrying about yourself only, okay? And spend some time, a little bit of your time, more of your time, okay? Helping others, benefiting others, then you realize your full potential. That's the only way that you can truly be happy. And this is contrary to what we learn in school, isn't it? We learn only to calculate for ourselves, not help others. It's so sad. This is why our educational system, okay, needs Buddhism. We need to go in there and tell them, you know, hey, there's something called happiness that we need to incorporate into our education, okay? Because we are capable of more happiness than we allow ourselves a chance to. Okay? Folks, make no mistakes about it. Becoming Buddha, becoming Bodhisattvas, will make you a lot happier than right now. This is why we're doing this, folks. Okay? And not just for you. When you're happy, it rubs off you. Everywhere you go, people around you are happier. Case in point. You see that, okay, I told you about Ichantika. Now let me tell you another example, give you a live example, another example of someone who just came from a foreign country. Okay? When I met her there, it's just not long ago, she was depressed. She stayed in her room for 3 or 4 days and would not talk to anyone. Okay? And she came here and they said, oh no, we make sure she has a room of her own because we want to make her feel at home. Give her a room. Okay? But before I give her a room, I said, I think you should need to think differently. You have depression, it's because you think too much about yourself, your comfort, yourself. Okay? If you stop doing that, okay, just stop thinking of yourself only and concentrate, for example, on doing ceremonies, on going to the kitchen and cook or sweep the grounds on the thing there in the temple. You feel better. And guess what? She hasn't locked herself up yet. We don't know. Okay, it could happen tomorrow. Knock on wood. Okay, it may not happen. But my point, I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. My point being that if you shift the paradigm and think a little bit less of yourself and more of helping others, you'll be better off faster than you think. It's immediate. Look at her. Now I feel like taking her out for ice cream. Before I said, I don't want to take you to have ice cream, and you look at me, I don't feel good. Why am I so sad? Isn't it amazing how people are so self-centered and they think it's so smart to only plot for yourself? Yes, K YouTube.
네, 유불도님의 질문입니다. 질문이 있습니다. 스님께서는 전에 말씀하시길 내가 아픈 사람을 치료하도록 도우면 그 대가를 내가 대신해서 받게 된다고 하셨습니다. 그 이유가 인과의 법칙 때문인가요? 아님 그 아픈 사람을 미워하는 귀신, 영가들의 저주가 내게 오기 때문인가요? 또한 정말로 치료를 도와준 대가를 내가 받게 된다면 예를 들어 불치병 치료약을 개발한 사람은 수많은 환자를 도운 셈인데 그는 대체 어떻게 되는 건가요? 저는 불경에서 그런 내용을 본 적이 없어서 자꾸 의문이 듭니다.
How come everyone looks so cold at JC? Oh, I forgot. There's a winter time there. We are 70 degrees here in Los Angeles. Never mind. Go ahead, translation, please.
Master said before, when I help healing people, sick people, I have to pay the price.
Yeah.
Is the reason because of the law of cause and effect, or
Yes.
because their ghost and their in-being is coming to me?
Yep.
So if I have to pay the price, what about the people who develop the medicine? They help a lot of patients.
But that's what we call here in Mahayana the price for happiness is suffering. It sounds like illogical, but you need to suffer first before you can become happier. And that's where the model of the world is off. The smart people, educated people are so afraid to lose, to suffer losses, because they don't realize in any business, like in any business enterprise, before you can make money, you need to lose money. You need to invest money and be prepared to lose it. Okay? You need to suffer losses first before you can have real advantages. There's a price. Okay? Yes, 7. I don't know what he's talking about. I like my talk much better. 7.
It's a YouTube comment from Brady McBride. He says, the world would be a better place.
Yeah. Yeah. Your heart, in order for it to grow bigger, you have to be prepared to take losses temporarily. On the surface, it's like it's losses. It's like when you work out, like Brady there. Have you seen Brady? Brady is like G.I. Joe. What is that movie called? Where Sylvester Stallone and the governor, not Rambo, the other one, Expendables, Expendable 1, 2, 3. I like number 3 most. They bore me to death because they're so like jocks. To walk around like this. Anyway, for you to grow your muscles, give an example, very, very personal. For you to grow your muscles, doesn't matter who you are, whether it's to look better, for weight control, for health, whatever, you need to grow more muscles. You older people, you need to grow more muscles around your knees for stability exercise, knees and hips, that kind of thing. Okay, and back and so forth. In order to grow muscles, you need to experience what? You work out and you experience, okay, discomfort and pain, micro tears in your muscle. When you go, and after that, you feel like it's achy and hurts a little, that's a micro tear. It has happened before your muscle grows bigger. Your body is capable of preparing itself and make itself stronger. That's the concept behind helping others. You first take a loss because it's a micro tear. Because you take a loss, your heart grows bigger and you can be happier. You cannot be happier unless your heart is bigger, folks. There's no other way. Your heart has to be bigger. Okay. Does he answer the question? All right, 1195. If one maintains that the Dharma flower's belief in the one vehicle after entry to nirvana is just on the part of provisional transformed sound hearers.
若为法华入灭后信一圣，即是变化全声闻者。
Okay, again, a lot of scholarly jargons, but I want you to know they hear the sutra name, Dharma Flower Sutra, very, very important sutra. You hear this sutra's name. Anyone heard of Nichiren? You? Yes, you used to belong to Nichiren, right? Nichiren. No one? Where have you been? How come I know about movies, I know about music, I know about Nichiren, you don't? How is it possible? Are you, what kind of lay person are you? I'm a monk. And yet I know more about life than you. Nichiren is a Japanese invention. They are a group, that's a Buddhist group, that is very popular because their followers recite this thing that helps them get Mercedes, jobs, wives, girlfriends. You didn't know that a Catholic. All you have to do is follow Nichiren. You can get your girlfriend a lot faster. You didn't have to wait for so long. You silly boy. And how did they do it? They do it because they recite this thing called Namo Dharma Flower Sutra. So what happens is they recruit new people. The people said, I lost a job and I'm looking for a job. I cannot find a job. So they assign Patricia, who is a senior Nichiren member. She would tell, you know what? I teach you to recite this Namo Dharma Flower Sutra, of course, in Japanese, not in English, okay? And I recite with you, I be there for you, and you keep reciting. When you recite this name here, you create a lot of blessings, and amazingly, a lot of them got jobs, got girlfriends, got money, got promotions, got all sorts of good things. And they believe. They keep on growing very big. And so my point, this is not a criticism, my point is that for you to hear the name Dharma Flower Sutra creates so many blessings for you. Okay? So that's why this sutra is very, very powerful. This is what the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas do. They came to our world. They talk about these things so that we can gives us a chance to create blessings for yourself, so that good things can happen to us. You cannot expect to have rice unless you do the planting. Someone has to plant, right? Okay, and the Dharma Flowers Sutra is one of very big sutras in Mahayana. Okay, so in the Dharma Flower Sutra, what it's talking about here is that the Buddha taught for about 49 years. Taught a lot. You know, he taught so many people, talked about so much, and then before he died, he taught the Dharma Flower Sutra and the Nirvana Sutra, remember? Okay, that's to tell them that you all can become Buddhas. Before that, it's only temporary. It's called provisional. Before that, it's all provisional, meaning that it's all that is temporary for you to finally hear what I have to say. I spent 49 years to befriend you, to make connection with you so that you trust me, you have faith in me. And for the last time here on earth, I want you to know the big picture. That is, you can become Buddhas just like me. Okay, so before that, before Dharma Flower Sutra, before the Nirvana Sutra, it's called provisional teaching, meaning it's temporary. It's like to keep children occupied. Okay, because they're interested in playing, so we teach them basketball, soccer, football, and so forth. But eventually, they graduate into something like a Buddha. Okay, so this provisional and this finally is actual. Those are the jargons I need you to understand. This gives you the big picture in Buddhism. Buddhism, we teach a lot of provisional. Teaching is huge because many people have different likes and dislikes. So we need to have, the provisional teaching is so vast. But we never lose sight of what ultimately where you need to want to be. The ultimate prize is in the Dharma Flower Sutra, in Nirvana Sutra, where it says, you will become a Buddha. Don't settle for less. Catholic? See, the Catholic completely is tuned out. Okay, it doesn't matter. He goes to his ears And the seeds are there, whether he likes it or not. That's why Buddha spoke so much. He spoke so much because people say, but Buddha, take a break. What's the point? You're old. You should take a break. You're 80 years old. You're 79 years old. Please take a break. We want you to live longer. Buddha, no. Let me talk because she's here today, so let me talk to her so that she has the seeds of Buddhahood in her consciousness. Like Catholic doesn't realize it, but the girlfriend, okay, sneakily force him to go and wait for her in the Buddha hall, okay, so that he gets the Buddha seeds planted. Did I reveal your secret too soon? Yeah? You don't think I know? You sneaky Buddhist woman? All right? And so that's the actual teaching. Actually, the Buddha says, all the time I've been talking to you is only temporary, only provisional teaching, just to keep you occupied and have fun with you. But actually, the big picture is that you should and will become a Buddha. That's called actual teaching. That's who you really are. Don't settle for less than that. Don't believe anyone else who tells you that they're better than you. No, you are just the same as the Buddha. Isn't that cool? To me, it's so powerful a message. Don't settle for less. That's called actual teaching. Okay? And so it says here, is another thing, another point here on slide 1196, is another trade secret in Buddhism, is that a lot of these pillars, those sound hearers there, actually are not really pillars, but actually they are bodhisattvas. They're not sound hearers. They pretend to be sound hearers. They pretend to be stupid. I mean, no, not pretend to be small, not stupid. They're stupid, but I settle for small. Okay? So what happened is that the Buddhist bodhisattvas, they pretend to be small there to befriend the small people. So that's why we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pillars here. Because one of them, among 8 pillars here, at least one of them is actually a bodhisattva. They befriend these pillars and they push them. Okay, hey, today let's go have a drink. Okay, tequila shot. You don't think I forgot? No, it's something you never forget. Okay? So that's called this is the truth in Buddhism. A lot of these sound hearers, this is why you don't want to criticize them, are actually bodhisattvas and Buddhas. They pretend to be a small pillar. That's all. That's why the rule of thumb in Buddhism, do not criticize the sound hearers, the monks, and all those people. Don't criticize others. Because when you do, you never know, it could be a Mahasattva. And you fall to the hells. Don't hurt others, because one of them could be a bodhisattva, and you. But if you help everyone, one of them could be a bodhisattva, and see that? So fundamental, and yet no one tells you. Mother never told you that. My mother never did. Daddy never did either. 1197, I'm going to get emotional. I miss him. No, I don't. The provisional certainly is transformation of the actual, and without the actual, whose transformation is it? Oh, good Lord.
全必化实，无实化谁？
Okay, and this is Buddhism too. They talk on both sides of the mouth. Sometimes they say provisional, sometimes they actual, sometimes they say actual, this is actual is actual provisional is actual. Okay? Don't worry about this. This is scholarly. Google Liguk, whatever you, what is the word for that? Gobbledygook. Thank you very much. Text me the word. It's an important word to remember. Okay? And so that's why I was reading it last night, believe it or not. And I said, my God, I mean, you guys talk so much for so little. Okay? It's just this provisional, this actual provisional. Actually, if you look at the big picture, how can you separate provisional from actual? Because provisional leads to actual. Actual cannot exist without provisional. The Buddha cannot tell us about us becoming Buddhas unless he spent so much time preparing us for it, right? You can't go to college unless we spend enough time preparing you in high school before you can go, yeah? So can you say that college is the only thing? College depends on high school to prepare us for it. So you cannot separate them. Can you really separate provisional from actual? No, not at all. You look at the big picture, they're all one and the same. Okay, dokie? That's all it says. But read this. Defense attorney, and this is Master Hsuan logic. It's Chinese. If you're Chinese, you understand. I don't understand it. Okay. 1200. That's a very lucky number. Furthermore, would that not mislead the only kind of living being who is timorous and weak and prefers extinction?
又岂不顾于一类怯懦好灭众生？
Okay, yeah, now the logic continues. Just want you to know this concept. The rest, you can argue back and forth. We can argue with Master Qing Liang and back and forth. It's okay. But the point I want more interested in you knowing these important concepts. Not timorous. Timorous is timid. Why would I use timorous? Just timid. Okay? Because I don't want you to spend time looking at your computer, your phone. Look at what does timorous mean? Do you know what it means? Okay? It means timid. Okay? Extinction. Concept extinction. Extinction here refers to very important Buddhist jargon. Extinction here refers to what? Extinction of all suffering, meaning all suffering will end forever. How's that? Just like Buddhist girlfriend, he can offer you happiness temporarily, but it's not forever. Okay? Whereas extinction is forever. Buddha's love is forever. Don't become Christian because God's love is not forever. When you betray God, He will not love you anymore. I always struggle. This is football season. Both teams, before they compete, they both pray to God. And one team wins. Explain that to me. God is not fair. Anyone ever thought? I always chuckle when I saw on the football on the TV before they start the game. You see all these big, muscular football players. You know what they do? You know how you do? Show us how you do that, Christian. Catholic. They pray to God, all of them. So which side is God supposed to choose? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Would you like me to repeat? If both teams pray to God, which team are they supposed to, God is supposed to choose? You know what's a Buddhist approach? I tell you, Buddhist approach. See, isn't that more interested in this? Timorous and weak and prefer extinction? Extinction is happiness. I'll talk to you about happiness. Okay? Funny thing, there's a soccer team. I read this on the news a couple of years back. A soccer team in England, okay, that's been losing like crazy. They cannot win. Okay, so this rich man, this tycoon, bought over the soccer team. He bought it. The guy is a Thai tycoon. He has a lot of money. Are you Thai? Why you keep on nodding your head? Okay, never mind. Don't answer that. And so this Thai tycoon, okay, bought the soccer team. And then you know what he did after that? After that, the soccer team started winning like crazy. Same personnel. He didn't spend money to get, what's his name? In Inter Miami first, whatever. The guy in Messi, thank you, merci. I thought merci in French means thank you, but it's Messi, not merci, okay? Messi. He didn't spend a dime hiring new people. He just bought over the football team and they started winning just like that, game after game after game. And they did a documentary on that. They wonder how would it happen? You know, this is so American. If someone has a winning record, we come over and try to steal it from them. Why? Would you like to tell us how? Your trade secret? And this guy told him. He says, after he bought the football team, and he knew that the opposition, hey, Catholic, you may want to pay attention. Don't look into your phone. Okay, it would help you. No. Because while the opposition prays to God, okay, what did this guy do? This guy here flew a Thai monk from Thailand to England, okay, before each game. And he, you know the Thai people? I don't know you have a Thai, I have a Thai friend. He's a fourth stage art. And when I came to him, okay, I saw him, this is what he does all day. He would sit there on the desk, and then he has, can I use this? Okay, pretend this is water. Okay, so people come to him and say something in Thai. I have no idea what he's talking about. I was there, okay, paying a visit. So all these Thai people keep on coming, and he said, "Give me a minute." So I said, he talked, and then he have this bamboo stick here, a lot of these bamboo stick like chopsticks, okay, and he's stuck in this thing here with water, and he goes up and just. And he gave them blessings, $20 each shot. I looked. Okay? This is a lot of people. It adds up, trust me. Anyone would like to try this? $10. Because I'm not Arhat, so I'm going to be cheaper than he. Okay? So anyway, so this Thai monk blessed them. That's all the way Thai monk bless it. I finally found out. I was curious, how do you bless these people? And I finally found out they recite some sort of sutra in Pali. Because I have so many Thai monks who brought me around, they pray, and people give them offering. I said, ooh, that's nice. I like to do that too. But I didn't know what they're reciting. They're actually reciting sutras or whatever thing they're reciting. And this guy blessed this football team. For some reason, they run faster, and they got luckier, the ball bounces differently, and they keep on winning. Even against superior athletes, they kept on winning. So that Catholic is the secret of success. You get the Thai monk to bless you. Don't pray to God. Yes, sir.
So if someone were theoretically...
See, someone is interested.
A fan of...
Finally!
If someone were a fan of the Nebraska Cornhuskers...
Yes.
And theoretically, if that team really sucked for like
yes.
a long time, is that the way to fix that curse?
Sometimes it works.
Everything.
Some bad days where the Thai monk is kind of sleepy or he's grouchy because he's not getting enough donations. It may not work very well. But the point is that, you know how the ball bounces? You never can tell, right? And somehow they get lucky bounces. They score goals. Okay? Stuff like that. You a Cornhusker fan?
Yeah, huge.
You're from Iowa. How can you possibly? Nebraska? Oh, of course. She's from
You know what?
that one. The woman there in the back is from Nebraska.
Weirdly enough, she actually lived in my hometown.
In your hometown? You know each other?
Yeah.
Oh, this is not fair.
No.
Small world.
Yeah, my hometown is like the size of this room, and she also lived there.
Wow, small world. You see, this is where the great minds meet. Okay, so anyway, I don't care about this. I think my talk is more fun. We stop here today. Thank you very much for your attention.